The stock's up 8.6%, record high, but that's only the biggest jump since the first week of April. Your colleagues on the street, many of them, have raised price targets or calls on the stock. You have not. In response to this ruling, why and what is your main takeaway from it?
So for the last 10 years in tech, we've maintained that any regulatory insertion into these stocks are really not founded. So watching what happened to Meta with Zuckerberg, watching what happened with Microsoft, there's been no breakup ever. And so we've always said that in a legal case like this, that there's always a remedy and that the companies are too big and that the regulators want one thing and the tech companies want one thing and they'll find a way to meet in the middle. They have found a way to meet in the middle. And so our view is that, again, in any situation, you buy these stocks on this fear, and that worked for Meta, it worked for Microsoft, and it worked now for Google. We are 100% hit rate. This isn't the game I'm creating. This is the game we're playing in, and that's been the rule book. So our view is like there's been no change. This company's growing their EBITDA at a mid to high teen multiple, and the stock's trading at 14 times. And it traded at 12 times just a few months ago. So there's really no knee-jerk reaction from us because the reaction for the last 10 years has been the same reaction on any legal case that we've had when we talk to our clients, which is they'll figure out a way, and the inherent value is higher for what they're doing than what the street is embedding.
Well, Brent,
so,
now
no real change.
Well, Google needs to find a way to continue to compete, even with a little bit of data sharing. What do you make of that part of the agreement and what it means versus rivals, particularly in generative AI?
Look, I mean, we are starting our searches in Perplexity and OpenAI, and then we're going to Google. We're not going away from Google. Google's still part of that, but the way we as consumers are looking for information, I think, is changing. And so I think this pressure on Google is good. It's going to bring their game out. You know, it's not like Scotty Scheffler likes to go out and play golf against himself. He wants Justin Thomas. He wants the other players, whether it's Tommy Fleetwood, competing against him. That makes him better. So I think many of these AI companies are making Google better. And we've said this for a long time. There's more horsepower underneath the hood. Google has done a terrible job of popping the hood and showing us what's behind the hood. And we think you're going to see that. So, you know, Gemini is doing a good job. We think ultimately that many of these AI competitors are a good thing. And I think this came into, obviously, the judge's ruling, which is there's a lot more competition now than there was a few years ago.
We're going to go very deep on the Apple portion of this later in the hour. But the basics of it is that Google's still allowed to pay Apple $20 billion a year and others to be the default search placement. How big is that for Google, that result?
I think it's huge. It's a big thing, and I think Apple has said that they are also looking and evaluating Gemini. They're evaluating other AI tools. But I think ultimately what happens is, look, even if they had to divest the browser or they didn't get this, everyone's still going to go back to Google, right? We're going to go to OpenAI, Perplexity to do different searches, but we ultimately end back up in Google. You can't complete the loop without Google. Whether it's map information or hours about a business you're trying to visit, or you're trying to figure out what time does the vet close. There's just things that you need Google for, and it's the best way. And so it really didn't matter, in our opinion, if they had to divest the browser or what's going to happen. The consumers are going to defact to their behavior, and the behavior is you go to where you get the best information, and that's the best information today for a lot of the consumers is in Google. So again, I think the world is shifting. There's no question. I think this pressure is going to be good. But I think, again, if you take a picture of a car in California, which I did for my son, and you want to figure out where a Toyota 4Runner with different colors is at, in Gemini, it will tell you the dealerships where that car is available. In Perplexity or ChatGPT, it'll just tell you the dealerships. It won't tell you where the exact car can be found. So I think there's examples of where Gemini is actually better than the other systems. And again, we're going to have multiple agents. We're going to have multiple AI systems that we all embrace, that work in concert with each other. And again, I think that's what we're seeing in our survey work. When you talk to your own usage, when you talk to your friends, we're using multiple tools.
Brent.
This isn't going to reduce the need for Google.
We're at your price target for Alphabet, I believe. So do we see ongoing growth for Alphabet? You seem to be talking a very bullish case for why it's going to win out in this competition.
Yeah, I mean, stock's up 22% now, and it's outperforming Amazon and many of the other names. The sentiment and AI was too negative, and on this court ruling, it was too negative. So we've had a nice snapback. And again, as we've seen in many cases, like Oracle's up 50, stock gave back 15 points recently. I mean, I would say that I think clearly stock's reflecting a lot of the good news now. And that's honestly kind of, again, where our price target was set. So we didn't predict this, but I certainly think there, again, just go back to the playbook for the last 2 decades in tech. The rule is every time going forward, in every conversation we have going forward with you guys, the big tech investigations lead to basically nothing. And they are great buying opportunities. And it's been that case for 2 decades. So that's what I think we've got to continue to take away.
Right.
Big tech's trying to help consumers, government's trying to protect, and they ultimately find a way to have peace in this new AI world. And I think that's exactly what we got.